I know I do this all the time because I tend to forget that my domains have expired, so I don't go back in there and update them, or I know they're going to expire. Maybe I don't have the money ready to do so. And I figured this might help people who do discover when their domain expires that they can still fix this. So I'm going to move mine in the process, so I thought I would include a training video on how to move a domain from GoDaddy DNS servers over to Namecheap, which I prefer to use nowadays. So I'm going to go in and manage a domain that has just recently expired over at Best at Mobile. I'm going to use this domain. What I really want to do is get over to my account. I want to get into my domain settings and just work from the old way of doing things. For me, it works a lot better. It's a little more straightforward. So when it comes to profile settings, go to the domain defaults. And you can see here I have the setup for everything that I have, and you want to make sure that before you go to transfer a domain that at least your email that is accessible is completely correct, so that you can get across for the administrative contact. If these emails are not correct, you run the risk of receiving the emails for the transfer to the wrong account, or maybe an old account that you didn't have anymore, and by that time it might be too late. So make sure you set that up. So I'm going to head back over here to the main page. I'm going to open up my domain listings. I'm going to go to the domain settings. Okay. Now I'm going to unlock the domain, because this is part of the reason I won't be able to get to the files if I try to move it to Namecheap. If the domain is locked, I won't be able to get to it. I'm going to transfer it away from GoDaddy, but I'm going to need an authorization code in order to do so when it comes time to do the final transfer. So what I like to do right away is get that authorization code emailed me before I move any further with any of the other issues here. So I am going to transfer the domain away from GoDaddy. Here I can go ahead and select a registrar that I'm going to move to. And I'm going to tell them I'm going to Namecheap. This just makes things a lot easier. I'm moving for several reasons: for cost, interface, and hosting. I'm going to go ahead and continue with the transfer, but what it'll say here is it'll spell it out for you so that you know exactly what order you have to do it in. And it says here you want to complete steps 1 through 4 before continuing, and I've already done most of these and covered those really quickly. 1, make sure your administrative contact email is current, which is what we did originally. Verify that the new registrar is will set up your DNS zone files. If I have, and I do have a I do have a website set up on this domain. I want to cancel any type of private registration. In this case, I don't have any for Best at Mobile. And then I unlocked my domain just as I showed you. And now you actually start the domain transfer at the new registrar. That's why I haven't completed this transfer portion here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head over to Namecheap. And I'm going to go ahead and get into my account. I'm going to head over to the domains pull down for transfer. Enter the domain I want to transfer over to Namecheap. It says it's currently registered with GoDaddy.com, which is true. Now, one thing I would like to find out real quick, just for the sake of doing so, let's see if Namecheap has maybe a discount code or get an idea what's going on over there. So let's check coupons. Okay, Full for DOMs is a discounted registration and transfer. So I'm going to copy that code. Go back over here, and I'm going to go ahead. Here you can see the registrar lock is unlocked. I've already made the necessary changes. So if I go ahead and add this domain to my cart, I'll head over to the cart to see if I can enter this code. Get a little bit of a discount. Oh, look at that. I got another $1 almost off of 10%, it looks like, so it's better than nothing. So my subtotal is going to be $9.02. And if you noticed earlier when I was over at GoDaddy, they wanted to charge me $15 for the same domain. So I'm saving roughly $6, which is a good thing. And I also get the free WhoisGuard to maintain my privacy now over at Namecheap, because you get that for a year for free. I'm going to confirm my order. Going to take me to PayPal in order to actually transfer the domain. I've got to pay for it first. So we've got all the payment details, confirm all that's good. Going to check out with PayPal. Okay, now that it's paid for, I can go manage it. Now it's with another registrar. Okay, so I need to enter the auth code that I was sent. I should have an email here waiting from GoDaddy. Here's my GoDaddy change notification that it's unlocked. I should also have my order summary. Let's head back over here for a second. I'll continue with the transfer. Okay, we've sent the authorization code now, so I should have that. Let's head back over here. Might take it a second to get here, but should be just a second. There we go. Okay, here's my authorization code for that particular domain. So if I copy that code, that's the account number, sorry. Don't want to show that on the video anyway. Now the authorization code is usually a very strange sequence of numbers that's not very legible. It's not something easy to remember. So I'm going to go ahead and authorize the transfer by entering the authorization code in the box. I want to back up because I added an extra space here, and spaces could be inclusive. So let's just make sure we only get what was in the code. Save those changes. Now the two registrars basically communicate with each other, because this is a common occurrence where people are transferring domains back and forth to different registrars. They've gotten really good at this now. It used to take 7 days, honestly, to go through this process, because you would have to get authorization from one, from the other, send emails back and forth, include authorization codes, and then you had to wait until they did something with it. Now you don't really have to wait, and by the time you're done, it usually takes about a half an hour. You'll see this video will probably only be about 15 to 20 minutes by the time I'm finished. Now here we have a notice from Namecheap. The authorization code was required to transfer this over. I made the request, so we're just really waiting on the response. So I can refresh the status here at Namecheap and see where it's at. Now it hasn't begun the transfer yet, and I've already entered the auth code, so it's no big deal. I just kind of have to wait. Okay, just wanted to confirm that we have refreshed the status recently on this video, and we are now verifying domain contacts. So it is in step 2 of the process. So let's go back and see where we're at with our order now. Back to the domain list. Now you can see here the Best at Mobile domain. It's verifying the contacts. It's still inside the transferring process. I could cancel this at any time I want to, but obviously this isn't something I want to do right now. Now it will even take the name servers from GoDaddy, which are already pointing to Best at Mobile's hosted site here on Namecheap. So you can see now they've got all the registrar contacts confirmed. They've gone through, if I wanted to get the premium DNS, I could get some private email. These are all purchasable things, obviously. But now the domain is active. Its status and validity is available as of April 23rd. 2013 is when I opened the domain, but it's now currently going to run until April 22nd of 2017. As far as sharing and transferring goes, it's still verifying contact, so we just have to kind of wait it out. Okay, we're back. I'm currently in the awaiting email confirmation status now. I just refreshed. So I'm going to go over to my Gmail, and I just received an email for a domain transfer request from Namecheap. It says here, attention, transferring Best at Mobile. Received a request on April 28th. You've received this message. Please read the following. You must agree to enter into a new registration agreement with us. Yada yada yada. So the full terms can be read there. If you wish to proceed, and you can read through all this if you'd like, I'm not going to go through every step of this, but it will take place within 5 calendar days, and this is what I was referring to earlier. It used to take up to this amount of time for the current registrar to accept the agreement, move the domain, but you do have a little bit of time to cancel or change your mind. That's really what this comes down to. And if I want to proceed, I can simply go over here. If I don't respond by May 5th, it will not be transferred. So I do have to go over here. I have to click on the link to continue that process. So I'm going to click on that link. I'm going to get some information, basically an approval page from Namecheap.com that says I must agree to enter into this agreement. Once I've entered into it, it'll take place within 5 days. It's probably going to take place by the end of the day. I'm going to go ahead and approve this so that I can continue on. Then it gives me some more transfer information that the approval information was thankfully responded, and it has been recorded. So I should be able to head back over to my tab here where I'm at, refresh the status again, and you can see that the transfer will begin shortly, which means they've received the confirmation. I shouldn't receive any further emails from Namecheap, except for one to confirm that the domain has actually been transferred. I may receive another from GoDaddy, which will also require an approval on my part to allow the transfer to complete, and then we should be able to wrap this up. Okay, we're back again. I've got a little bit of dinging going on. Let me mute a tab that I have here, but I just refreshed the status over at Namecheap, and I am now awaiting the release from the previous registrar. So let's go check my email. Again, here now we have a GoDaddy email for the domain transfer notice received on April 28th. If you wish to cancel, then I don't need to do anything. I can simply log in. Well, I should say I'd log in and decline the account. I don't need to do anything to accept this transfer. And if I don't let GoDaddy know what's going on, they'll go ahead and proceed anyway. But the really cool thing is I can go ahead and go over here to GoDaddy now. And now that my domain is available for my use, I can go over to the transfers tab under the domain settings, and I can see Best at Mobile here under the domain name that it's being transferred out, and the only recommended action available to me is to accept or decline. So I can go right into the manage button and wait for that screen to open up, and you'll see here the transfer has not started. I can accept or decline the transfer now. So I'm going to go ahead and come in here, and I'm going to accept that transfer from GoDaddy to Namecheap. And what this allows to take place is pretty much an instant exception. The transfer has not started at this particular time, but the notice that just popped up, you'll be able to see, noted that it shouldn't take much more than a few minutes for this to finish processing. So I can go and double check what might have occurred in an email. I may have received a new one. Nope, not at this time. So it's really just a matter of the pending transfer. I can actually check the status on this if I wanted to. Let's just refresh this real quick and see if it updates the status. Yep, see, now it's due to the current status of this domain. This feature is no longer available to be able to see the pending transfer out, so it sounds to me like that's been followed through. Let's go ahead and refresh the status over at Namecheap. And it might take a minute or two. The page would refresh automatically if there was something here that needed to be done. So looks like not a whole lot going on just at this moment. We'll wait it out for just a few more minutes, but it looks to me as though the domain has already left the building, you might say. Alright, just wanted to include a little note here while I was over at GoDaddy, making sure that my other domain was gone. I actually have 5 more that I'm going to be moving out of here before long, but I wanted everyone to know, in case they see the screen with the boxes, if they wanted to check back to the listing, all they have to do is pick on this little box over here, which gives you a listing, which was what I was normally familiar with, but honestly, this is part of the reason, like I said, that I'm leaving GoDaddy, is because of the interface. It's just not conducive to the way it works. So I wanted to let people see that that was the difference between this view and the other view. So I hope that helps clear things up if you're used to the other setting and you've been looking at your screen like this and saw me looking at it like this. At least now you know why. Okay, just gonna try and wrap this video up real quick. I just received an email at 4:34 actually, from Namecheap, which confirms that they are happy to inform me my domain transfer is complete. You can now find the domain in your Namecheap account and manage it from there. So we now have an order ID, a transfer ID. It's been transferred for a year, and we now have that domain accessible through the main panel on Namecheap. And now the only thing I really need to confirm and verify is that I am using the proper domain hosting servers here, because this is still being processed through a forward over on GoDaddy, even though the actual hosted domain is here on Namecheap. So I just simply need to make sure that the name servers are updated to the hosting name servers here on Namecheap, and then from there I should be able to go in. Now the site may not actually link properly until the DNS switches over, because it does take a little bit of time for that to propagate through the network. But I'm going to just go see whether or not I can still get to my domain. Right now it cannot be reached, so it is temporarily down. I'm simply going to have to wait it out until the name servers over at Namecheap update to the actual location, which is here in a folder located on Namecheap's hosting site that I also own. So hope that helps everyone take a domain from GoDaddy that they think is expired and they can't get to again. There is certainly that bit of window. If you noticed, my domain expired on the 23rd and is now the 28th, so it's been 5 days that the domain has expired. I was still able to get in, unlock the domain, carry it over to Namecheap, get it for almost half the price, at least $6 off what I would have paid at GoDaddy, and now I'm getting all of my domains together over here to host them all inside of Namecheap. So if you want any discounts, I do have a link available. If you want to reach out and get a hold of me, contact me at lelandbest.com. Thanks everyone for watching the video. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.